I am building upon a legacy where we have higher unemployment, lower unemployment.
Well, there's mistake number one, but Humza Yousaf is only getting warmed up.
And how good has it done him?
How good has it done him? Okay, there's number two. That's just a slip of the tongue, though. Let's go to some more substantial issues.
Can I say, Presiding Officer, how delighted I am to have appointed the Cabinet that has the most number of women in it in the history of devolution.
The most number of women, again, another grammatical error, shall we say, but is really delighted to have this majority female cabinet. Nicola Sturgeon always prided herself on the gender-balanced cabinet. Humza Yousaf's gone one better, 6 women, 4 men. I mean, what's the next frontier in the quest for gender equality? 7 women, 3 men, 8-2, 9-1. The ultimate utopian objective, of course, will be the 10 out of 10 female cabinet. Then we really will have achieved equality.
Can I say that I'm delighted to be able to appoint a cabinet that had a number of members under the age of 40.
Cabinet under 40? In other words, quite a few people are quite inexperienced. We really don't care how old they are. It's absolutely got nothing to do with their competence. What we need is people who can do the job well. Humza Yousaf seems less interested in that. To add to his list, okay, there's more women, there's men, there's people under 40, but he's also thinking as well, there's also a non-white First Minister. He said it before, that's something he thinks is really important. Anyway, that's 5 mistakes so far. On we go.
We have a Cabinet Secretary for the Wellbeing Economy.
Cabinet Secretary for Wellbeing Economy. The Scottish Government makes up these loaded names for job titles. So instead of, say, a Home Secretary, in Scotland it would be the Secretary for Being Nice and Keeping Everyone Happy. Chancellor of the Exchequer, Secretary for the Wellbeing Economy. It's all touchy-feely. They can't bring themselves to say the economy is important. We need someone to be looking after that. That's something we need to do. It's going to be the well-being economy. It's going to be a little bit more cuddly rather than just the blunt fact that we need money in order to run the country the way we need to. While we're on the subject of appointing ministers, Emma Roddick has been appointed as a minister. Now, Emma Roddick has stated that she lies as a matter of principle. If she's been appointed to the government, goodness knows the calibre of the people who've been left out. Anyway, that's mistake number 7. On we go.
Yes, I make no apology whatsoever for having a Minister for Independence, because, my goodness, we need independence now more than ever before.
You can hear throughout this, Humza Yousaf doing his sort of tub-thumping thing as he's speaking. I'm not sure that sounds great. I think his tone's quite aggressive. Why independence is more important now than at other points in time, well, I think that's just as perpetual, isn't it? Now will always be the key time for Scottish independence.
Because we have more food banks in this country at any other time than ever before.
Now, Humza Yousaf's got the wealth of government statistics at his fingertips, and he chooses to quote the number of food banks as a measure of poverty in Scotland. I mean, how ridiculous. If I open a food bank at the bottom of my road, does that mean Scotland's become poorer? I mean, really ridiculous. Anyway, mistake number 10. On we go.
Do you know whose opinion I really care about? You know whose opinion I really care about? It's the people of Scotland who have given their verdict time and time again. And they have put their trust in the SNP election after election after election.
Right, number 11. I believe this is called taking the electorate for granted. He's basically saying, you lot used to vote for Nicola, so you'll obviously vote for me too. I'm not sure that's going to work.
They wouldn't even make it on my subs bench.
You wouldn't make it onto my subs bench. He's talking to the Scottish Conservative MSPs. I'd say to Humza, as First Minister, you've got to rise above that. You've got to be a bit more dignified and statesmanlike. No sign of it yet. Number 12. On the day Humza Yousaf was sworn in as First Minister, who took his whole family, it seemed, along to Bute House, the official residence of the First Minister of Scotland, and published photographs of them having a look around it. I thought that was undignified and trivialising. The Yousaf family has not been appointed to be the first family of Scotland. He was being appointed to be First Minister, and he was going to his place of work, his official residence. So to have his whole family there in the house, I thought was inappropriate. Then he held his prayer session in Bute House, in the public room in Bute House. I'd say about that, they were all male. There, I've got no problem with that. My church has a men's prayer meeting and a women's prayer meeting. But if you're going to talk about gender equality in the way Humza Yousaf does, that doesn't really fit. Right, number 14. Humza Yousaf in the photograph is leading the prayers. I mean, you see the imam there? I don't think so. I don't think there's any need for him to be standing out as the Muslim leader among those men praying. People have pointed out the obvious thing, if Kate Forbes had been elected, if she had a prayer meeting for the Free Church of Scotland in that room, there would have been outcry, absolute outrage, and she wouldn't have dreamt of doing it. Now, when Humza Yousaf did that, though, it gives the impression, I'm not saying this is actuality, but it gives the impression, so on day one, in the First Minister's residence, it's like saying the Muslims are here and we're taking control. We have taken over the First Minister's residence. We're here. I say, I'm not saying that's what it means, but that's the impression it gave, so that was a mistake. Now, Humza Yousaf may have been thinking that this display might have won over Muslims. Well, we'll see below how he's doing with that project. Then we go to signing the declaration to become First Minister of Scotland. Now, Humza Yousaf throughout the campaign was wearing a conventional Western men's suit. But when it came to the signing in, he wore what I assume is some sort of Pakistani-style outfit. I think that was mistake number 17. Because when Humza Yousaf had been sworn in, he's there to represent the people of Scotland and taking a role for the people of Scotland. So to choose to go to that, representing yourself, as though actually the really important reason you're there is to represent the style or culture or whatever of Pakistan, I don't think that was right. That was not helpful. So there is another mistake. Then it came to sign the document. He didn't seem to be able to find where to sign. His pen wouldn't work. They had to keep swapping pens around. It becomes a bit of a comedy show. So I'm going to show you that. It's so long that while it's running, I'm going to read some quotes from a Muslim website. It seems like a pretty mainstream Muslim website where a Muslim lady responds to Humza Yousaf. But here's the signing.
Will you now sign the parchments?
Maria Akbar says Humza Yousaf's shameful denial of Islamic values is a lesson to us all. If we sell out Islam in a desperate attempt for validation and acceptance, it will only bring us disgrace. Despite being the first Muslim to lead a major UK party, I personally feel nothing but despair and outrage at his appointment. His proclamation of being a proud Muslim and at the same time expressing views such as there's nothing wrong with LGBTQ or abortion deeply bothers me. Standing in the public sphere and loudly proclaiming that you're a Muslim, then supporting values that go directly against Islamic teachings is extremely offensive and an utter disgrace to everything Muslims stand for. In the eyes of the non-Muslim, it is not really clear what Muslims believe at all. In fact, Humza Yousaf may appear as the more relatable, normal one, whilst the rest of us mainstream Muslims will appear as extremists. It is undeniable that there is a trend of some Muslims who compromise on Islamic teachings or shy away from saying things as they really are in an attempt to seek acceptance and validation from the wider non-Muslim community. Validation or acceptance will never be attained unless certain values are compromised. Today it's LGBTQ, tomorrow it will be something else. She refers to the weak-minded mentality of the compromisers. Then this Muslim lady finishes by saying, remaining silent when Muslim public figures trash Islam will contribute to the problem. Mistake number 20, Humza Yousaf didn't appoint Kate Forbes to the cabinet. Not necessarily because of a bad decision in itself, because she probably would have had to resign. And she was so critical of him, it would be difficult for her to back him up in the months to come. Kate Forbes has said lots of gracious things recently about Humza Yousaf and a lot of other people in the SNP. But in a sense, it's sort of too late. She's burnt her bridges a little bit by being so forward in her criticism of them. But Humza Yousaf's mistake is setting the course of the SNP government in a direction that is so progressive that a lot of people within the SNP will feel alienated by it. So that's just the first 20 mistakes on days 1 to 4 of Humza Yousaf's tenure as First Minister. So that's what we've got so far. Who knows what's coming next? But in the meantime, join the Scottish Family Party and let's present the people of Scotland with a better alternative.